Hey y'all, I'm Derek and welcome back to 31 Days of Found Horror. Okay, so today we have a short film. It's only 45 minutes long and it's called The Museum Project. So it's going to be a project in a museum. And it's from Australia. Okay. Let's get started. Okay, let's go. So the premise of this movie is Alice and two of her friends are film students who are going to investigate for a documentary they have to do in class whether or not the local railroad museum is in fact haunted. Okay, you wouldn't believe how many takes it took me to do that one line. And it basically starts off with Alice explaining that position to you. Then it goes to B-roll. It's literally one of the guys holding the camera going, I'm walking through campus getting B-roll and my phone rings. And then we cut to them in the library investigating the railroad museum. And the lore is that there was a railroad conductor who ended up killing people on the railroad, and instead of going to prison, he throws himself in front of the rail and gets run over by a train. So they're saying that the railroad station which he died at, which is now a railroad museum, is haunted by his spirit. Ooh. So they go to the museum and they meet up with the manager of the museum, and they're trying to ask him about the ghost, and he's not having any of it because he was a train conductor, and dang it, we don't need superstition in railroad work. So then it's nothing but B-roll of the museum. I'll just go ahead and say this, I love museums. I go seek out museums when I'm traveling. In fact, last time I was in Savannah, I literally bought a day pass for the Talmadge museums and went to 3 different museums in one day. I like museums. However, I will be the first to admit watching people walk around a museum is downright boring. It was nothing but 5 minutes of trains of tediousness. They're walking through the trains, they're walking around the trains, they're walking through the trains and around the trains and playing with all the things. It wasn't fun. One of the guys is walking through the train with the camera, and Alice decides to do a jump scare because nothing scary is happening because it's a train museum. Yay! Jump scare. And then there's a scene where the camera's focusing on a dangly thing. So you know the dangly thing is going to play a part. But then he gets called away and looks over at Alice and then looks back at the dangly thing, and the dangly thing's not there. Ooh, spooky. So I've been calling her Alice, but her name is actually Allie. The reason I've been doing that is because I have terrible penmanship, and I have even worse pencilmanship, and I wrote this in pencil. Yeah. Well, Allie decides to go ahead and set up a shot for the documentary. But she just can't get through the lines, she's just not in the mood, she can't get in the mood when it's daylight, and for some odd reason when she said that, Afternoon Delight just started playing in my head. I don't know, I'm weird. Gonna find my baby, gonna hold her tight, gonna grab some afternoon delight. Why? Why does my brain work this way? She really wants to do the documentary at night, but the manager won't let them stay overnight because they're not insured for that. So what do they decide to do? Break in. Of course they do. They literally go to a door he just locked and unlocked it when he goes around doing his rounds. Ooh, devious. So they go back to one of their houses and they're looking over the footage of the dangly thing and how it's there and then it's not, and they're creeped out because it's a dangly thing. Oh! And they go back to the museum to break in, and at this point I'm just saying, guys, it's a school project. Don't break the law for a school project. If you can't do what you were originally going to do something else that doesn't require trespass. So at one point, one of the guys is setting up the cameras in this room, and behind him, And while nobody's there, the door closes behind him. Ooh. He doesn't think anything of it because I wouldn't either. I would think, oh, the hinges are loose. Well, they do a documentary shot, and then all the train bells start going off in the train bell exhibit. So they go over and stop them, and they can't turn them back on. Ooh, scary, creepy. And then they go back to shooting B-roll. The sound guy stops at this lever to capture some sounds of the lever because he says it's cool, while the other two go walking off. If there's one thing I know about movies, is if you split up, you're gonna die. And all this time, Allie really just doesn't emote. Everything is just so blasé. Oh, well, I guess we can do it over here. Oh, I guess we could do it over here. I'm just like, Allie, emote. You're in a stressful situation. Even if you don't believe in the ghosts, you are committing a crime. Act like it. Don't be so blasé. So they go back and look for the sound guy, but the sound guy is gone. Only his boom mic remains. Ooh, even the ghost knows that probably cost more than the guy did, so he just left it for someone to pick up later to return to the facilities. So they go looking for the sound guy, and they're trying to build tension about it, but it's literally just people walking through a dark museum. And they go on one of the trains and they hear a thump, so they keep walking forward and they find a picture of the train killer guy in the train, and they're all wondering, why is there a picture of the train killing guy there? So they're still walking around looking for their friend. Truth be told, at this point, if I was there with some friends and one of y'all got taken, I'm sorry, I love you, I'm sure, but I would have noped out of there already. As I said before, I'm a firm believer of the nope. And then the lights go out, just in time for a jump scare. They see a man in a train conductor's uniform with a cartoon jaw, and he just goes, raw. So they run. The camera guy suggests they go get help, but then they hear the sound guy. And so they decide, don't go get help, go help the sound guy. Go get help to help the sound guy. How's that? That sounds like a good idea, but they don't nope. They go on. I would have noped. So Allie runs after the noise, and she gets caught in a train. She gets trapped there. They can't open the train at all. Allie is stuck on the train. The camera guy is stuck off the train. He's trying to open the door, so he puts down his camera. Finally, someone does something right and tries to open the door, but he gets yanked and killed off a screen. And of course, after the camera guy dies, Allie can miraculously open the doors because that's what ghosts do. They separate and kill. So she gets out and she picks up the camera and walks over to the camera guy. She looks at the camera guy. The camera guy's dead, and he's holding a train conductor's watch. And then she looks up and she sees the train conductor with the cartoon jaw, and he goes, rah! And she just falls over dead. So the next morning, apparently, there are no bodies, but the camera's still there, and so's the train conductor's watch. Well, the camera is picked up and moved out of the museum into the manager's office, and the manager puts the watch in his desk and then just looks at the camera and turns it off. The end. This movie was stupid. It was just literally 45 minutes of people walking around a museum. I do believe, however, it is a cautionary tale. Don't break into museums. If you're going to do a film for a school project, don't break the law, because then this stuff happens. You get cartoon jaw train conductors. That sounds like a really bad metal album. Cartoon jawed train conductors. Raw. I make myself laugh. Well, the acting was unbelievable. It wasn't very engaging. It was really just boring. Yeah, that's my thoughts on this movie. Have you seen this movie before? If you have, leave me a message down below. Tell me what you thought about it. And of course, if you haven't seen this movie, it will be linked in the description below. So that's it for this episode of 31 Days of Found Horror. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for tuning in. And come back tomorrow for another found footage nightmare.